Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look here at Gala, see kind of what's going on, of course. And if you're not currently a community member, consider joining. I do have a trading community where you can learn to become a better trader. Trading Academy with a series of videos to help you understand what it takes to be a better trader, as well as obviously a signal group where you can actually learn to structure your trades effectively based on the signals that I send for the trades that I take, and obviously another, many other ways, of course, to become a better trader. So check that out in your own time. CryptoCache.tech is the website. Link it down below, of course. So here's something we want to address the elephant in the room here, right? With Gala, it's obviously taken a big hit here recently. It's selling off quite significantly. So unfortunately, this nice momentous trend that we had here was fizzled out with Bitcoin trending downwards and selling off. And without Bitcoin having a good solid foundation or less fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, which we had at one point, Gala is essentially following suit. So Gala is doing very similar to what Bitcoin is right now. Keep that in mind. Even though this point right here is lower than what Bitcoin's is at, because obviously Bitcoin is still staying, it's still making higher highs and higher lows if you were to kind of go zoom out, right? Gala is not doing that. It's tapering off. It's kind of not looking great. We're under the 50-day set moving average. And again, that's very synonymous with Bitcoin in that sense. So I would just say make sure you're familiar with Bitcoin and understand what that entails, because that's really a big catalyst here for Gala. This wouldn't have happened if Bitcoin didn't do something very similar, which it basically did the same thing. All right, so just kind of throwing it out there. I think you already knew that, but just want to advise you that. So here's some good news, right? Consolation, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it. We're up over 50 on the RSI. Effectively bounced off 50, which is a great sign. Basically means we have a nice strong support here, right around 28 cents if you were to kind of round up a little bit. So 28 cents should be the support level for Gala. In fact, why don't we go ahead and move this up here a little bit, and you can see that Fibonacci retracement line pretty much matches right with that. So 27/28 cents is essentially a nice key support level. All right, so that's a good sign here for Gala. Also note as well, we don't have a bearish divergence right here, right? So the price is essentially consolidating, going sideways, and that's helping a lot here with the MACD to help us understand this. We're not expecting to see a strong turnaround. It shouldn't go much lower from this. Now keep this in mind. If Bitcoin goes south here today, which is a possibility if they increase the rates here for the Fed rate meeting, right? Or the Feds have an emergency meeting here today to either potentially increase the interest rates or to potentially decrease, or oh sorry, I misspoke, the inflation. They're increasing inflation essentially, which ties into interest rates. But generally speaking, if that were to go bad, go south essentially by them increasing the rates, then we could expect Bitcoin to decrease, and in turn, Gala may follow suit. All right, so I'm just kind of trying to prepare you for that, so you know this may be a better case scenario for Gala to stay right around 28 cents. That is a key level support. But if we zoom out and kind of look, there's not a lot of support in between based on volume from where the price is at presently down to 19 cents, okay? I'm not saying it's going to free fall from 28 to 19, but there isn't really a lot of volume in between there, and that helps us understand that there's not a lot of support either. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of where we're at here for Gala. It's not terrible, but if we lose 28 cents, it might continue to progress a lot lower from there. Okay. And again, just depends on where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin loses 41.5, it's going to be a world of hurt for a lot of coins. Okay. So just be mindful of that. I just want to prepare you. But we're up over 50 on the RSI. That kind of reaffirms a support level at 27/28 cents, and that's a good sign. All right, look at the 4-hour, we can see very similar price action to Bitcoin in the sense of the fact that the price went sideways. Yes, it sold off pretty hard yesterday morning for some reason, but the key is that we're over the 200-day set moving average, which is trending around 26 cents, kind of reaffirming that 27/28 cent potential support level. And unfortunately, the 50 is up at around 32. So we're probably going to be stuck in this little price range for a moment. It is gaining momentum here, of course, which is good. We have a MACD convergence essentially happening right now. So normally speaking, if there wasn't any Fed rate meeting news today, I would say go long on Gala. That's a good sign. That's usually something we want to identify. But we are still under 50 on the RSI, so we're not totally out the woods yet. But generally speaking, that's a good sign to go long, right? So again, if you're a gambling type, that's a good thing to consider moving forward. That would be a benefit, so to speak, instead of an adverse scenario. But the truth is, we don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, and that could very well influence Gala's price action. So just be mindful of that. Last thing we want to touch on here is the 1-hour chart. We'll just go ahead and quickly look at the Ichimoku cloud. We're still under the cloud, so no buy signal just yet, but we're breaking above with the lagging span, and the conversion line just broke above the baseline. So until we get above the cloud, it's not a buy signal, of course. I recommend always 1, 2, maybe even 3 hours of consolidation above that level before you take entry. But that is basically telling us that we're in pretty good shape here for Gala, in the sense of the fact that we're almost out of the woods there, and we have this consideration to possibly go long. So we're close on the cloud, and we're also having a MACD convergence in the 4-hour. Those two things usually line up together to give you a I usually call it a double rainbow. So I know that's a weird term if you're new to the channel, but generally speaking, it's a good thing, right? It's a positive thing when you see something like that. So when those two things happen at the same time, here in just say another 3 or 4 hours, if the price were to stay above the cloud and not get rejected and continue lower, then at that point, that would be a consideration to go long. Just once again, remember, Bitcoin could sell off today based on the simple fact that we potentially have an increase in inflation, and that will cause a negative, a negative sentiment in the market. The markets will decrease because of that, and Gala could follow suit because it's done so almost to a T here recently. So please just be mindful of that. If it wasn't for any of the Bitcoin stuff, I'd say you're almost poised perfectly to take a long position. Right? Gala's looking very good right now. One last thing just to note, touch on this here, TD sequential, we're hitting a 7, so it could very well taper off soon, because once we hit a 9, usually we see some type of reversal or consolidation. So I think the likelihood of it breaking through the cloud, honestly, is lower than it is high, just based on the fact that we got all that crazy weirdness happening right now, and we're just waiting to hear back from the feds. So just something to consider. So again, that's kind of where we're at here for Gala. I know it's not great news. I would just recommend being cautious and careful, setting your stop loss maybe appropriately, and just noting that, if we lose 27/28 cents, it could very well be a potential free fall down to 20, if you will. Again, that's just a worst case scenario, trying to prepare you for that if that were to happen. I don't think that we're going to see that. If we have neutral news today, just say nothing happens with Fed meeting, then Gala is looking ready to jump back and get back on track. Again, keep in mind Bitcoin, if it continues to go sideways, we'll probably be okay. As long as it doesn't go much lower than 41.5, I think we'll be fine. We'll probably see Gala recover quite nicely. Okay, so mostly good stuff for Gala. There's just that shadow of a doubt. We don't know yet what's going to happen. So be mindful of that and help. Just be cautious when you take entry, right? Because we never truly know what will happen. All right, I hope you learned something here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a good one. If you're not currently a community member, consider joining. Link in the description below. CryptoCache.tech is the website. Once again, you got access to a trading academy, trading community, and of course, my signals that I send out for every single trade that I take. So you can share in understanding how that works. I look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.